Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. In this video, we're going to show you how to change out the Samsung dryer drum assembly. It's going to be a very easy repair, and it should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the new dryer drum assembly. The dryer drum assembly is where the clothes tumble in the dryer. The main reason you'd be changing it out if it's cracked or damaged or the seals have failed and the lint and hot air are leaking out and the clothes aren't drying properly. In order to change the part, we have to take the dryer apart. First thing we're going to do is open up the door. Once you have the door open, we have to lift the top up. There's a couple locking tabs, one on each side, kind of right above the hinge right here and right above the cover for the hinge on the other side. We're going to use a putty knife with a hammer to press them in, and as you're knocking on it, you want to kind of twist the putty knife and lift up on the top so it comes up. Once you have it released, you can lift up on it a little bit so it doesn't lock back in, and then we'll do the one on the other side. Now that we have them released, we're going to lift up the top, and if you're going to lean it against the wall, you can put a towel across here so you don't scratch anything. We're going to support it with a lanyard because we don't have a wall behind there. However you support it, you want to make sure that you're not putting too much tension on this wiring harness. Now that we have the top supported, we're going to use a Phillip screwdriver to take out the screws that hold the front panel to the bulkhead. We're going to take out these three first. There's one on the top and two on the bottom. Once you have the screws out, we can close the dryer door. Now we're going to use the Phillip screwdriver to remove the three screws that hold the front panel on. Once you have the screws out, we're going to lower the front panel down. There's a little tab on each side that holds it in. We have to press on this tab on each side. Once you press down on it, you can pull out on the panel a little bit and then do the one on the other side. Once you have them both released, we're going to carefully pull the panel down a little bit. You can see the wiring harness in there. It's a little tight inside there, but you just have to reach inside, and there's no locking tab on the switch. You just need to pull the wiring harness out. Once you have it disconnected, you can set the wiring harness aside, and then you want to lower the panel down a little bit, not too far, and lift it off the lower mounting tabs. If you lower it down too far, the tabs will bind up with the front panel and you won't be able to pull it off. Once you have it free, you can set it aside. Now that we have the front panel off, we have to take off the light socket. It's just held in by a little locking tab on each side. We're going to grab it with the needle nose pliers and then use the small flathead screwdriver to push in on the locking tabs while we pull up on it. A lot of times when you do one, the second one just comes out. So you just want to carefully remove it. And then we're going to unlock this wiring harness holder here. All you have to do is untwist it. And then we can take these two wiring harnesses and set them out of the way. Now we're going to come down to the bottom right hand side. We have to disconnect the wiring harness for the moisture sensor. It has a locking tab on it. All you have to do is press it to release it. Once you have that off, we can use the Phillip screwdriver to remove the screws that hold the bulkhead of the cabinet. We're going to start at the bottom one that holds it to the blower housing. Then we're going to remove the four that hold it to the cabinet. Now we can take the front bulkhead off. All we have to do is lift up on it so the four tabs come off. And and pull it off the dryer. If you need to, you can lift up on the drum a little bit to get it free, and pull it off and set it aside. Now that we have the bulkhead out of the way, we can reach in and disconnect the belt. Just have to reach in underneath the drum and push the idler pulley towards the side of the dryer to take the tension off of it. Then you can unhook it from the motor pulley and the idler pulley. To get the dryer drum out, we're just going to lift up on the belt and use it to guide the drum out through these cutouts. Once you have it free of the cutouts, we can change it out. Here's the old dryer drum assembly next to the new one. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at appliancepartspros.com. Looks like they redesigned the baffles in the new drum. Instead of having 3 of the same length, there's 3 shorter ones. There's one offset towards the front here that we're going to put in the front, and the 2 other that go towards the back. To put the new drum in, we're going to put the belt around it and line it up with the center mark in the drum. And you want to make sure that the grooves are against the drum. We're going to lift it up and guide it through the cutouts and set it back onto the drum rollers. Once you have it in place, we can route the belt through the pulleys. We're just going to grab the idler pulley and pull it over towards the side of the cabinet and hook the belt over it, and then loop it back around the motor pulley. Once you have it in place, we can put the bulkhead on. To put it on, you just have to line the bulkhead up with the drum down here. You want to make sure that it goes onto the rollers. And then you have to put the 4 mounting tabs into the cabinet. So we're just going to line it up with the blower. You may have to reach in and lift up on the drum a little bit to get it on the rollers. Once it's in place, you just want to look around and make sure the drum is seated properly and the seal is not pinched or anything. And then we can use the Phillip screwdriver to put in the screws to hold the bulkhead on. Now we can reconnect the wiring harness for the moisture sensor. All you have to do is grab the 2 ends and make sure it locks together. Now that we have the moisture sensor reconnected, we're going to put the light in the front bulkhead. Remember, it just locks into these 2 tabs right there. And you have to reach underneath and kind of hold the lens up because the lens is part of the locking mechanism. Once you have it locked in place, we can put the front panel back on. To put the front panel on, all we have to do is set it onto the mounting tabs. And before we lift it all the way up, we're going to grab the wiring harness for the door switch and plug it in. There's no locking tab on the door switch wiring harness, but there's a little tab right here that you have to line up with the switch so it goes in. You want to make sure that's pointing towards the back of the dryer. You just have to reach in and plug in the harness. Once you have the door switch plugged in, we're going to lift the front panel up so it locks into the cabinet. And then we're going to run the wiring harnesses through the little holder right here. All you have to do is grab the wiring harnesses and put them into the holder, and then twist it to lock them in place. Once you have it in, we can use the Phillip screwdriver to put in the screws to hold the front panel on. Next, we're going to open up the dryer door. Use the Phillip screwdriver to put in the 3 screws that hold the front panel to the bulkhead. Once you have the screws in, you can close the door. Now we can put the top down. We're just going to pull it forward and take the lanyard out. Once you're ready to lower it down, there's a couple pins that you have to lower it down to on the side. Then lower it down onto the locking clips to lock it in. Once you have it lowered down into place, you can press down on it to lock in the front locking tabs. Once you have the dryer put back together, you can plug it back in and take it for a spin. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.